Welcome, welcome everyone. It's beautiful Thursday, clear, beautiful sky, and such serenity and such silence. And in that silence, there is Omkar Dhvani going on. I was listening, and I wish that we all could be not just virtually, but physically present here and share. We'll be there on Sunday. Come over and let us share. Today, we're going to talk about why is the spiritual life. There is our life filled with fun, laughter, and we want, you know, to enjoy freedom. We want fun, freedom. And we want to have strength to fight in case there are any struggles. Beautiful statement comes to my mind by Swami Vivekananda. He says, I asked God for strength and He gifted me with struggles. Such a beautiful statement. We fear away from struggles. But anytime when there is a cloudy sky, know that there is soon a bright, brilliant white sky with a blazing sun is waiting to come in. So clouds of sorrows will keep on wisping by, which are the struggles which we have to face. Everybody has to face. And if we don't face the struggle, we do not get the strength. Reminds me of a very famous example of the caterpillar becoming a butterfly, metamorphosis. The caterpillar, they had to struggle hard to get out the cocoon. And the cocoon has been made in such a beautiful way by the caterpillar itself that before it becomes butterfly, it has to struggle exactly that much. So some scientists, taking pity on the caterpillar, was trying to struggle and eat up. They said, let's help the caterpillar to become the butterfly. And the butterfly it had already become, trying to, with its wing, push it out and struggling. So they cut the little bit of the cocoon. And they found, to their horror, that the butterfly did emerge, but the wings were so weak, the wing could not take the body out and the butterfly couldn't fly. So for you and I to fly in life, to understand that towards greater gain is there has to be struggle. And this struggle is not hard like a bull or like a cow pulling and, tilling the soil. This struggle is spiritual struggle. And there is a requirement for you and I towards paradigm. We need name, fame, money, good health, good relationship. But towards those good gains, there has to be, it's called a paradigm shift. Towards the paradigm shift, for them to happen, you need to have an ethical manifestation, ethical life, truthful, purity. So no greater gain is the name of today's topic. And Krishna in chapter 6 is telling Arjuna, let me read it out. In the last line, he said, Yasmin sthitoto na dukkhena gurunabi vichalate. He's going on to say that there is no greater gain than the spiritual life in your life. If you truly want that, there is nothing higher than the spiritual. And whatever you want in life, you need to have that spiritual. Spirituality is that understanding the spirit within. And that spiritual life takes you from strength to strength, to pillar, towards which The moment you say spiritual gain, you will have three questions. First question is, why is spiritual gain the greatest gain? You will naturally like to know why. And then he will say, what exactly is that what we gain through this spirituality? No? Why is spiritually the greatest? And second, what exactly are we going to gain? Children ask you, no? What if I do this? What will you give me? So that question comes to everybody's mind. And then, how do I do it? Today's a quick session towards building up your curiosity for the Sunday to understand more this. First, let us understand what exactly is happiness. Is it money? You notice, however much you have, you realize soon enough that people, family, friends, relationship, everything else, it's not helping with just the money. There is a guy who's well to do, Manhattan, lots of tons of money, and very big package. The company is asked, so what are your lifetime's aim? Why are you working? Just HR questionnaires developing. And he said, oh, I work just because I love to work. I'm passionate about working. Many of us do that, we think so. They said, okay, so you are not working for money. He said, no, no, no. I work because I love my work. I'm passionate about my working. So the HR guy said, okay, then what we do, you go ahead and start doing that work. We will not give you any money. Is that okay? Because you're just working for work, no? He said, no, 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 but I have to give that money to my family members. They need that money. And he said, okay, we will give you that money, but on one condition. Don't give it to your family members. You give it to some other people. We will tell you who. Maybe some poor, destitute ashramas. He said, no, but what about my wife, my son, my parents? So he said, that means if you look at it carefully, you are working for money with a specific goal towards that guideline. And this is the relationship and power and the name and the fame and the position and people saying thank you for the gift. So there is, and yet, whenever you're putting your happiness elsewhere, other than you, to your money, to the relationship, to the people, status, achievement, happiness goes to some other person. And Vedanta goes and says, the moment you shift your happiness from you to another person, it's the sure shot of unhappiness. Because it is in the other person. It's not with you. And it is bound to change. It will go away because the other person is not you. So Vedanta is going to explaining, just see, people do get, you put your happiness on the people, onto your husband, onto your wife, onto your children, to your friends, a good relationship, to your parents. Hey, people do get old, they die. Babies grow up, become adults, go away. Husband, wives grow old together, very rarely, gracefully, some do, which is beautiful grace and their ethical manifestation that they see the divinity and God in each other. That's how they do. Otherwise, they grow old and they separate away. Sleeping in the same bed, but miles apart, and there's a Chinese wall between the two. Why is it? Expectations and the happiness of the other person and doing other things. Happiness is not on the other person. Ramakrishna Paramahansa once, his nephew, his favorite nephew, sister's son, was very sick. Paramahansa Ramakrishna was praying for him. And then sister's son nephew dies, and he says they see him standing, and actually there's a smile in his face, and he was his favorite nephew. They're all surprised, and then they ask him later, "Why were you smiling, sir?" And as they were asking, suddenly his face became contorted with pain, and he started miserably weeping. My dearest nephew. And they said, "What was the smile and what is this?" He said, "See, when I was seeing that, just like a sword comes out of a scabbard, sword comes out. You've seen Shivaji's picture, statue with a sword with a scabbard. Like that, I saw the soul coming out of the body, and I was realizing the supreme truth. So I was gently remembering and divinely blissful. And then suddenly I realized, when I started weeping with grief, that my favorite nephew will not be there anymore." So we depend on the people, but they will either go away physically to another place, another station, or they'll go away and die, never to come back again. We are putting it to other person. So there is a beautiful anomaly given by Vidyaranya, very famous, 700 years old Vijayanagar saint. Panchadashi, recollect, I have shared with you. I have it right behind me. Vidyaranya is giving a statement. Just take. Everything depends on your mind. Why? Because the mind says, "I am separate from you. This is my name. This is my body. This is my form. This is my house. This is my husband, my wife, my children, my money, my bank, my car." They said, no, but my mind is detached. I'm very... He said, "I'll give you an example. How it is mind." He says, imagine an old couple living very happily. Why? Because their only son is living far away 700 years ago. He's talking about a story. And far away in distant land, no telephone, no mobile, no emails. And the neighbors are very jealous. This guy is living very rich because son keeps sending, good son, sending a lot of money, old man in his retired age, living very well. So one of the neighbor, out of jealousy, just like that, comes and tells the old man and the wife, "Your son is dead." Imagine. Actually, in the Ishvara Srishti, in the God's world, son is perfectly okay. But in the Jiva Srishti, that is, which is the mind, because if somebody comes and gives me a message, my world is shattered. And howling, grieving, "Oh my God, what's going to happen? My son is no more." Whereas actually in the God's world, he is there. But in my world, he is vanished. Vidyaranya goes ahead and gives another example. Imagine, there is similar, a couple living and dependent on to a son, which is again far away land. And the son is actually dead. But the husband, wife, the old parent don't know about it. They are pretty happy living well, continue to live whatever money they had. They will come to know much later. They're happy. So this is Jiva Srishti, Ishvara Srishti. So understand it this way. No greater gain into the spiritual world in which invest your happiness within you, to you, not on time. The moment you say on time, you say, "That time I'll be happy. That time I was happy. Now I am sad. I will be happy maybe when I go to heaven." These are sure formula for unhappiness. When you invest your happiness to time or peace or tranquility, happiness cannot be cut up, limited by either time or a space. When I go to that place, I'll be very happy. When I visit so and so country, I'll be very happy. or an object. If I get this, then I'll be happy. Whether it's an ornament or an iPhone 14 or whatever. So, the happiest time of our life, you and I, when we invest on spiritual world, is now, right now. You're absolutely contented and peaceful. Your body may have suffering, but that is my body, that is my mind, that is, and whereas I am the witness of my body, I am the witness of my mind. Drashta and Drishya. My eyes are seeing. What I see is different than my eye. I suddenly feel that I need specs for my eyes. Who tells that my specs needs eye? My mind tells me. So now, I become the Drishya, mind becomes the Drashta. Drik Dishya Viveka, I'm recollecting your story. Coming back, we had covered it a little while ago. And little while later, you say, I get headache when I start reading. Who's telling? The mind is telling. How does the mind know? The mind is feeling depression, anger, jealousy, greed, love. And now, all these things what the mind is feeling, who is feeling it? I. Who is that I? Is that I where you should invest your happiness? Is the supreme bliss within. And Shankaracharya goes ahead and tells that Vedanta gives you that happiness, that you are in an ocean of happiness. The mere bit of sprinkling of that wave which you get once in a while and you feel so happy. Just a few sprinkling drop, but the ocean of happiness within you and me. And you and I need to tap into that Atma Sukha. And that is the spiritual life, tapping into. You are always carrying it with you. It's with you. It's you. But you and I, and the Jiva Shrishti, we say, no, I am this Robbin Ghosh, this mind, this body. And this is what Shankaracharya is saying. Within each one of us, there is this one boundless ocean of bliss. I am sitting like this. And just behind me, cool, infinite nectar of bliss, happiness, water is flowing by. And I am facing this side and dying of thirst for water. And it's right behind. And you and I have got disillusioned. The happiness is within. It's not out there. It's not out on that place. It is beyond time, space, and object. It is not on that person. Only if I marry her. So I will tell you one little story with which we will finish today's session. Okay, I'll tell you two stories. You've heard from me one of the very famous, the Princess of Kashi. The prince, 5-year-old, birthday, right next to Kashi. Those days Kashi was the kingdom of India. Varanasi, Kashi, Kashi, Varanasi. And next to Kashi was this queen and the king. Their lifetime, one son, 5-year-old birthday, big celebration in the whole country. Queen said, let's have some good play. And in which they chose to have a play where there was Princess of Kashi was also there. She was supposed to have been right neighboring, they knew, very pretty lady, very pretty young girl. And that story was going on for Princess of Kashi. While they were trying to find a pretty girl, they couldn't find one. So they came and told the queen, we can't find a pretty girl because she has to be very pretty. The queen thought about and said, why don't you dress up my prince? It's his birthday. You dress him up like a girl. And they dressed him up, and he was very handsome, good young boy, and he looked very pretty like a girl. The play got over. He must have done very little, but it was sitting very prettily and was looking so pretty. Queen said, make a painting out of it. So they called the royal painter, and royal painter made a beautiful painting. Queen, for a few days, kept it in her room and then sent it to keep it in the storeroom. 15 years passed. Now the prince is 20 years old and doing a lot of princely things, hunting and studying and playing. And one day he was having a little time. He was roaming around the palace and he happened to go to the storeroom. And as he goes there, he finds that painting. And he says, my God, what a pretty girl. It's 15 years back was 5 years, my age. And he falls in love with the girl. And now he can't tell everybody, he's feeling a little shy. And he's morose, suddenly not joyful, not happy, in love. King asked, what happened to you? He said, no, nothing. Then one of the ministers was asked by the king, find out. And the minister had grown up with this boy. Minister goes and talks to the prince. Tell me, oh prince, what ails you? The prince said, what to say? I'm in love. The minister said, very nice. Who's the girl? She's Princess of Kashi. Really? Even better, right neighboring country. How did you meet her? No, I haven't met her. But then I've seen her painting. Very nice. Where is the painting? Come, I'll show you. Prince takes the minister. He goes down to the storage, and as the minister knew about the painting, he was a minister then and grown up 15 years. As he sees the painting, he says, Prince, you better sit down. He said, why? He said, this is not Princess of Kashi. The prince said, it doesn't matter. Whoever she is, I'll marry her. He says, no, prince. Tat tom asi. You are that. And then he tells him the story. The moment he tells him the story, instantly prince's unhappiness vanishes. Instantly he says, oh, I am only that one. And this is what I mean, is that understanding, realization of who am I. A beautiful story, Vedantic tale to tell us, to guide us. You know, we are bound by our mind, that Jiva Shrishti. We create our world in Ishvara Shrishti. Along with Ishvara Shrishti, we have our Jiva Shrishti, with our mind and name and form and past karma. And we say, this is me, this is my world, and the other's world is separate. I bring separation. The moment I say, this is Robbin Ghosh, that means you are separate from me. But the moment I realize that I am not just a wave in this samsara, in this ocean of life, but I am the water which is acting as the wave. I am the consciousness which is acting as this life form. I am the existence consciousness, and I am the bliss. And this ocean, this wave, everything is water. Then I look at everybody else as one water, all waves, whether tsunami or that bubble, that little tiny wave or that big wave, everything is one water. And when the whole ocean becomes calm, all waves merge into one ocean as one piece. When does that happen? When you and I get spiritually enlightened with that meditative form. So remember, a guy could be bound by an iron chain with the samsara, very strong. That's called tamasic. The guy could be bound by a silver chain. That's called rajasic. And a guy could be bound by a gold chain. That's called sattvic. Sattvic guna is better than rajasic guna. Rajasic guna is better than tamasic guna. Tamasic guna is like sleeping, lazing all the time, couch potato, watching TV and eating food. That tamasic. It spoils your personality. It makes you weak. Now, you're watching a cricket match. Take an example. And you're enjoying it. Very nice. But if you suddenly make up your friends, your brothers, sisters, and neighbors, and your friends together and go and play that game in the cricket field, you enjoy more. That's called rajasic guna. Now, tamasic, rajasic. Sattvic guna takes you closer to which is supposed to be sattvic thoughts, sattvic living life with an ethical manifestation is better. But still it's the bondage. You and I have to go beyond these three gunas, which is called beyond the mind. And remember our meditation on Sunday. Those of you who haven't attended, come attend Mandakya Upanishad. That going beyond the bondage to that light. And when you start to feel, you will get that one little spray through that meditation. You will suddenly feel the taste of that bliss, of the joy. Jai Guru. I wish you good luck and may you be blessed with your family, with your parents, with your children, with your members, your relationship, your husband, your wife, in bliss and happiness. May all your wishes be fulfilled with your spiritual, ethical manifestation. Do that manifestation. Take it on right now. Jai Guru.